Hi everybody, it's Mark the Family Woodworker. Hey, everybody's got knives in their kitchen, but do they look cool and actually, I don't know, cut? This week we make some beautiful custom knife handles with expensive Cocobolo wood and create a new chef knife set, wrapped up in a custom leather pouch. Cocobolo wood is really dense, colorful, and very pretty, but it's expensive though. This little piece costs more than 60 bucks. I also have 4 knife blanks, starting with this old paring knife that needs some new scales. I've got a new Damascus paring knife that my kids got me for Christmas last year, a Damascus high carbon steel boning knife, and I also have this 8-inch Damascus chef knife with a flatter blade design that I think is going to be great for vegetable prep. The chef knife blank also came with this really cool mosaic pin for the center of the handle. To protect all these knives, I'm going to salvage some leather from an old broken chair and make a custom pouch. Let's start with cutting some scales. I needed a 1/4-inch thick piece for the smaller paring knives. The wood grain is really pretty too. I need thicker pieces for the 8-inch knives, so took a 3/8-inch cut for those. Total handle width for the larger knives is going to be 7/8 of an inch. Each knife blank was drawn out on one scale, including the marking of the holes, and then cut to size. By using double-faced tape to stick the 2 scales together, I was able to cut 2 exact copies of each drawing. I really dig some of this orange color popping out in spots. Moving over to the bandsaw, I started to carefully cut each set of scales on the outside of the line to leave enough material for sanding flush with the tang. I did this cutout for each set of scales. Once the handle pieces were cut, I split them apart with my handy oyster shucker and removed the double-faced tape. I also wrapped the blade edges with tape to avoid another gruesome incident. Kidding, it's fake. Or is it? The steel rivets that came with these knife blanks were kind of blah, and I didn't have a drill bit size that accurately fit each one of those pins. Since I had 1/8-inch brass rod in stock, I opted to use that instead. Each knife blank needed to be drilled out to accept those 1/8-inch brass pins, and I actually think they'll look pretty awesome once the handles are finished. After widening those holes, I attached one scale on each knife with double-faced tape so that the hole on each wood handle lined up with the tang. Then tape was applied on the opposite side of the handle to hold the other scale in place. By drilling through the first set of scale holes into the bottom wood, the holes on all pieces should be in perfect alignment. The same drilling process applies to the other 3 knives, though the chef knife needed a larger drill bit for the center hole. Epic fail there. But after figuring out how to do something simple like load a drill bit, the end result was the same. All holes were in perfect alignment. This is the point where grinding and shaping took hours to smoothly align knife handles to the tang, as well as have those handles fit comfortably in my hand. I'll let the video tell the shaping story, and at the end of the video we'll test the knives and even offer up a family recipe for you to try too.
Bring me the big knife.
Now that the 4 knives are smooth and fit nicely in my hand, I noodled over which handle finish would be best, but settled on butcher block conditioner. It's easy enough to apply and is food safe, featuring a blend of mineral oil, beeswax, and carnauba wax, to seal and moisturize the wood. I found that adding a little heat from a blow dryer or a heat gun helps to melt the wax into the wood grain, but I was careful not to overheat the wood and damage the epoxy bond. The edges were already pretty sharp, so I just honed them a little on the 4000 grit whetstone. Before testing and cooking, I wanted to fit the new blades into a custom leather pouch. I laid out the knives, including a diamond sharpening rod and another knife I chose to protect, and trimmed the leather to accommodate 6 sleeves at different depths. Since I can't sew, I'm a huge fan of hot glue and how well it bonds leather like this. I glued each pouch with enough width to allow for a good fit on each blade. They all fit in pretty well, and there's enough leather on top to secure the knives with a fold-over flap before rolling up the bundle. It still needs something to secure the roll, so I glued in a leftover strip of leather to be used as a bundle tie. I secured that with hot glue as well, and it does a nice job holding the bundle together. Now, I have other knives in the kitchen for family use and mostly abuse, but these will be mine to keep sharp and take care of. Well, I have to tell you, these knives came out really great. The chef's knife is very comfortable in my hand, as is the boning knife, and both the handles are curved and comfortable to get a good grip on both. The paring knives actually worked out pretty well too. A good match of those two blades, a good match of those two knife scales, and that Cocobolo wood is really attractive. And the leather roll-up pouch is going to do a great job protecting them all. How do you like the knives, Bob? What do you think?
Knifers, how many times have you wanted to carve up a quality piece of meat, but your dull, rusty knife simply isn't cutting it?
Hey, guess what? They cut. The paring knife worked out great. It's easy to hold, feels good in my hand, and made short work of peeling this apple. No trouble. Now the chef's knife I'm going to use for all sorts of vegetables really, and I like the flatter blade because it allows me to make good flat cuts on this onion, mincing it for our upcoming recipe. The boning knife was sharp as well, and the handle fits my hand really nicely. It's got good weight, it cuts through meat pretty easily, nice thin slices with this blade. And thin slices are the key to this upcoming recipe. Listen, thanks for watching this build video. If you want to see the recipe, stick around. Now in this particular case, this is a German family recipe from my grandfather and my grandmother. It's basically thin strips of inexpensive beef. This just happens to be a round roast. Cut thin, rolled up with some partially cooked bacon and minced onion. I've seen other recipes include pickles and even a mustard on the roll as well, but in my family it was just the 3 basic ingredients: beef, bacon, and onions. They need to be browned in bacon grease on both sides before we simmer them, and this is easy to do with some bacon in a flat pan, flipping them over until they get a nice caramelized brown color. And then when these are done, we'll put them aside and get ready for the braising. Now we'll slowly simmer or braise these browned beef rolls in 12 ounces of beer for an hour. Any lighter beer will work well. Heavier, hoppy beer changes the flavor profile, and I'm just not a fan. At this point, we can either make gravy or we can add a jar of the ready-made stuff, which works well too when you're in a rush. I'll include all the details in the full recipe posted under the free stuff tab on our website. See the link shown below or in the video description. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We hope you get inspired by one of our woodworking projects and give them a try. We also hope you subscribe to our little channel too. Take care.